What up everyone, welcome to BMG. It's your boy Brown Mamba. Hope you guys are doing good. So in this week's video I have some more NBA 2K15 gameplay for you guys. It's the Toronto Raptors versus the Spurs in the finals, and I do win game 2 and I'm going to take it back to Toronto and hopefully where I complete the 4-game sweep and win the championship. My goal is to just, play the last 2 games, beat the Spurs, win the championship, and then put my 2K15 away and get ready for NBA 2K16. In my last NBA 2K15 video, I did talk about the classic teams and the teams that were announced so far. There is a link below to that video. Hopefully you guys do go watch that if you haven't seen it. If not, I'll give you guys a quick recap. So far, the teams that were announced were the 2007-2008 Houston Rockets, 1999-2000 Toronto Raptors, 2007-2008 Boston Celtics, 2000-2001 LA Lakers, 2002-2003 Dallas Mavericks, 1999 and 2000 Portland Trail Blazers. There have been 4 more announced, which are the teams I want to talk about this week, and those 4 are the 2004-2005 Phoenix Suns, 2005-2006 Miami Heat, 2003-2004 Detroit Pistons, and finally the 2012-2013 Miami Heat. I'll start off this video by talking about the 2004 and 2005 Phoenix Suns. That year they finished a record of 62-20. They were the first in the Pacific Division. They did make the finals where they did lose to the Spurs 1-4. This team was stacked. They had Steve Nash at his prime, Amari Stoudemire at his prime, Sean Marion, had Joe Johnson, had Barbosa, had I don't know who else, Quentin Richardson, who was a 3-point king. Like, this team was very, very well rounded and very quick, and obviously obsessed with 3-pointers. The funny thing is, they did beat Dallas that year in the second round, 4-2, and it was kind of like a cool matchup seeing Steve Nash go against his old team and actually beating them and going into the finals. Another fact is that Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire, and Sean Marion, all 3 won the All-Star game. Throughout the season, Nash averaged 11.5 assists a game. He shot 50.2% from the field goal and 43.1 from 3-point range. And he obviously did win the MVP. He won, I think, back-to-back that year and the next year. During the season, Amari Stoudemire did average 26 points a game, which was his career high. And in the playoffs, he really picked it up a notch and averaged about 29 points a game. It's going to be fun watching, playing with this team and playing against, Dirk Nowitzki days when Steve Nash was on that team, or even playing some of the more modern teams to see how they match up. Another cool fact I'm going to talk about with the Phoenix Suns is that year they did draft Luol Deng, who ended up becoming a superstar, but not a superstar, but a star. They traded him to Chicago Bulls during the draft day for, I think, a future first-round pick or second-round pick. The second team I'm going to talk about is 2005-2006 Miami Heat. Their record was 52-30, and they finished first in the Southeast Division. As you know, that was a year Shaq was drafted, or traded, or signed, or whatever it was, to Miami Heat alongside Dwayne Wade. The weird thing was, after I think 2 games, Shaq actually hurt his right ankle, and he was out for the next 18 games, which he obviously didn't play. And that's why their record isn't as good as it should have been, I guess, with Shaq and Dwayne Wade. Wade was at his prime, and that was probably his best year, I think. I think throughout the season he averaged 27.2 points a game. He also led the team in assists and steals, which, I think he seriously did carry that team, even in the finals. It was just him. Shaq, I guess, came back after his injury, and also Jason Williams was their point guard, and he was at the end of his career, but he still had a pretty good impact. But overall, it was Dwayne Wade who legitimately did carry that team. So I'm sure you guys know, Miami Heat did win the finals. They did beat Mavs 4-2, which sucked because I did want Mavs to win that year. It would have been Dirk's first championship back then, but they lost 4-2, and it is what it is. In Game 5, Dwayne Wade actually scored 43 points, and he did average 28 points a game. Shaq wasn't all that impactful. He was, I guess, in the playoffs, so they did rest him a lot, but he did manage to get his second career triple-double against the Raptors during the regular season. But overall, that team, that was a really good year because Dwayne Wade was at his prime, and he actually played the way I like him to play. He was very aggressive. He scored. He didn't really pass too much. He did average 6.7 assists, but he was he score first type of guy. Now when he was with Bosh and LeBron and stuff, he was very, in the backseat type of guy, and he wasn't really being as aggressive as he should have. But, at least we have this classic team now, so I could go back and relive the Dwayne Wade days that, I liked. So that's another good thing about this game where, you know, I don't like the new Dwayne Wade. Honestly, I don't. I think the old one, when he was at his prime, it was just him, and he'd carry the team and scored 40 points. I think he scored 40 points three times in the finals, so 2 or 3 times. But yeah, some ridiculous amount, and that's what I like and that's what I missed, and that's why I kind of got a little bit negative towards Dwayne Wade when he joined up with LeBron and Bosh. Some other people on that team, like I said, it was Shaq. He averaged 20 points, 9.2 rebounds a game during the season. Another good guy on that team was Antoine Walker. He finally won a championship. With Boston, him and Paul Pierce never really got that close, but even back then, Walker and Paul Pierce was a very good duo. Antoine Walker averaged 12 points and 5 rebounds a game. The next team on my list is the 2003-2004 Detroit Pistons. Their record was 54-28. They were the second in the NBA Central Division, and they did win the NBA Finals against the Lakers, beating them 4-1. It was a crazy year that year. Lakers were stacked. They had I don't know, Gary Payne, I think. They had Karl Malone, and that team was just a mess. Shaq and Kobe were in the heat of their feud, so they fell apart in the finals and they lost, which really pissed me off because I did want them to win and get the extra championship between Shaq and Kobe, but they lost. It is what it is. Detroit Pistons was the better team. They were the better overall team. They didn't have the best record, but as a whole, I guess they're a really good team. Actually, during the trade deadline, they did pick up Rasheed Wallace, who was a crucial player when it came to the playoffs. During the season, it was Richard Hamilton leading the way with 17.6 points per game. Ben Wallace, he averaged 12.4 rebounds a game, 1.77 steals a game, and 3.04 blocks a game. He was a defensive juggernaut, and you need defense to win a championship, and this team was just overall like a perfect team. Rasheed Wallace, he was amazing. He would get boards, he could hit the three, and he was getting blocks as well. He averaged 2.0 blocks a game. Richard Hamilton, this was his prime time. He averaged 17 points in the season and 21.5 in the playoffs, leading the season and the playoffs. But at the end, it was Chauncey Billups who won the Finals MVP. He just played overall well. He averaged 1 steal a game, 17 points a game, and 5.7 assists a game during the season. He did pick it up a little bit during the playoffs, which obviously he needed to, and it was great. It was well deserved. A little funny thing about this team was they actually had the second pick that year, and they picked Darko Milicic, thinking that he's the next Dirk Nowitzki, which he wasn't. He was actually the biggest flop. So they picked Darko Milicic over Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosh, and Dwayne Wade. They're probably kicking themselves now. Imagine if they didn't pick him and they picked Melo or Bosh or even Wade. This team probably would have won multiple championships. Number one was obviously LeBron James that year, but we all know Cavs got that pick. And finally, the 2012-2013 Miami Heat. Their record was 66-16. They got first in the Southeast Division, and they obviously won the NBA championship that year against the Spurs. It was their second win in the finals, which sucked because I freaking hate Miami Heat when they were the big three. They beat the Spurs. I believe Ray Allen hit that shot to take it to Game 7, I think it was. And Spurs just fell apart. I was just so disappointed because I thought Spurs had it for sure, and it just sucked that they won. But at the end of the day, it was LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh, all at their prime. Dwayne was a little bit past his prime, but he was still pretty close to his prime. He was still considered a superstar in my eyes. Yeah, that team is completely stacked. Even they had Rashard Lewis on that team. They had Mario Chalmers, Battier, Chris Anderson, Ray Allen. And he was a little bit past his prime as well. So this team was just stacked. The championship was basically given to them in my eyes. They beat the Bucks the first round. Bucks suck, so obviously they basically swept them 4-0. Then they played the Bulls, but Rose got injured and he never played, and there was really no challenge, I guess, without their superstar. Pacers, however, I really wanted Pacers to beat them. They did take them to Game 7, but Roy Hibbert never showed up and they lost, and they never made the finals, so it sucked. But it is what it is. Miami Heat got the finals, played the Spurs, and got the couple of lucky shots in by Ray Allen, who's really clutch, and they ended up winning another ring, which sucks because I don't like LeBron at all, and I hate the fact that that they formed the big three at their prime. The kind of weird thing is the 66-16 record is the exact same record that Boston Celtics got when they formed their big three and won the championship. So that was a kind of a weird coincidence that I noticed while I was making this video. During the season, they did have a 27-game win streak, which helped them get the 66 wins, and that's actually the second longest win streak in NBA history. So those are the 4 updated classic teams. I believe there's 2 more left, and that will be my next video, and I believe will be my last 2K15 video, and hopefully I get my 2K16 and I'll start making videos with that. A couple of cool classic matches I'll do. If I had to guess, I'm hoping the next 2 classic teams is probably, it has to have Reggie Miller. I want to see Reggie Miller at his prime, and even Latrell Sprewell when he was on the Knicks at their prime. Like, that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll find out on Thursday, see what those 2 teams are. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
You know, once they sniffed out that blood in the water, the killer instinct came right out. And so it's Toronto winning.